Alright, good morning. This is a 2001 Toyota Camry with a bad radiator. You can see it's a plastic tank and there's fluid all around here up at the top. It's pretty much failed, and we're going to go ahead and change it out. So first thing, I'm going to drain the coolant out, and we'll take it from there. Now, to drain the coolant on this, there's usually this little wing nut type of plug down at the bottom. This I'm showing you on the new one because on the existing one it's broken off. You can't quite see it. I'll see if I can show you, but it's down here at the bottom. Looks like somebody tightened it or over tightened it and broke off the tab, so I'm going to see if I can get something on there to undo that, because I can't do it by hand. Okay, now that the coolant's out, I'm going to take off these. Looks like we've got two cooling fans here, and those are just 10mm nuts right here. 4 up at the top, and I imagine there's 4 down at the bottom holding them on. I'll jump down there in a minute. And then I'm going to take this off here. These are just those constant tension type of spring clamps. I found it's easiest if you just grab a needle nose pliers. I like the ones with offset, and you just squeeze those down and slide the clamp up on the hose, and then these you just wiggle them loose. And I got to put the camera down to do that. So to take the fans out, pretty simple actually. There's just 2 bolts up at the top. I've taken those ones off, and there's nothing holding it in at the bottom actually. It just sits on that little channel of the radiator. But you're going to want to unplug these electrical connections to pull it up out of the way, which you just push this tab in and pull at the same time, which I usually do it with 2 hands here, so I'll set down the camera and then take those out. Over here on the left side, it's the same. There's these two bolts, 10mm, that hold these in, and those come out quite easily. And then this overflow tube, you're going to want to take this off just to clear it out of the way. It just pulls off, and really just, it's the same type of spring clamp, but they're not usually too tight. I'll just set this, this is for the overflow reservoir, and then you've got your electrical connection here, and I'll pull that out here in just a sec. Okay, now we've got the fans up and out of the way, and the top hose and overflow disconnected. So down at the bottom, it's pretty simple. All we have is the 2 transmission lines, one here and one here, and those are the same constant tension spring clamps, which you just get to them with some pliers from the bottom here. We're still draining out there. Here's that plug. I was going to show you that radiator plug that someone really mangled when they were tightening. And then you have the coolant temperature sensor, which is here, and this just has 1 wire. It's that same, let me see if I can get that right now. Squeeze that and pull that off, so that's good. The new one doesn't come with this sensor, so you're going to undo that and put it in. And then the lower radiator hose. So pretty simple. I'll pull that off here, and then come back up to the top, and then we'll take off these. These are just 2 retaining type of fasteners here, so it looks like a 12mm bolt there and here. And then once those come off, this I think the radiator's just held in. It's kind of like suspension on these rubber bushings here. It gives it a little bit more cushion or dampening down the road. Okay, so I got everything off down below, and I've got the transmission lines. I just clamped them with vice grips and have them up here out of the way, and everything's ready to come out. This little lead for the coolant temperature switch just snaps in, and I'm just going to unsnap that. And then now these up here at top, last thing I got to do, and then it'll come right out. Okay, so on the new radiator, one thing I forgot to do on another one similar to this is they come with these little insert nuts, and they go into these little top sections here, and it just looks like they just snap in. But you got to remember to do that. I put one in, and they were on the bottom, and they were harder to get to. This wouldn't have been as big of a deal because they're right up here at the top. But you just want to snap those guys in before you put it together. And that's it. Got the old one out over here, and like I said, this is just a little clip. I got to grab some pliers and pull this out. This is what holds that coolant temperature sensor, and then I'm going to pull this out and put it on the new one as well. Okay, so I got everything in, except I almost forgot these little rubber bumpers that just slide on the bottom. Sometimes they stay in the car when you take the radiator out, and sometimes they stick to the radiator, the old one, like they did on this one. And you just pull those off. And you could put them on the new radiator, but I like to just set them in here. These are the little holes for those. Pretty straightforward. They just set in there, and we got that coolant temperature sensor in there, and this little clip back on here. That was pretty simple. You just squeeze that. Just be careful not to break it because it's plastic. And then I already clipped that back together. So and this radiator came with a new cap, which is nice, but this is ready to go back in. Putting it back in is pretty much the same as, or the opposite of taking it out or taking out the old one, but here I have these clamps back in. Those are very simple. They just bolt down and hold it in place. And down below, I got the transmission lines back on, down over there, and then the lower radiator hose. And when you seat those, you just want to make sure that you get past the little ridge at the end of the nipple on the radiator. And now I'm going to put in the fans, get those connected, then bolt them in, and then the top hose and the overflow, and fill it with coolant. Okay, now it's all back together. Fans are in, connections are put back in, and radiator hose, it's ready to fill and test for leaks. Just one more thing I didn't mention on this lower connector. It's clipped into the fan itself, and I just also unclipped that, and there's two clips down below. It's really simple, but I just did that so I could take it out and have a little bit more room to work. On the radiator, on the transmission lines, you don't lose too much transmission fluid, but I do suggest checking that level before too long, just to make sure that that's at the right level, and then should be good to go. All right.